am, I mean, I would kind of call myself the voice and example of, culture for our team. I spend the majority of my time with team members and just hearing them out, hearing how they're feeling, understanding, any pain points and just kind of being with them and listening to them. So I also, I mean, because I'm doing that, I spend a lot of my time trying to make sure that we are all aligned and we're keeping everyone on the team aligned on, our mission, our vision, our values, everything that we all need to be on the same page on. So I definitely feel like I play a very big part there, on top of being able to increase the communication with our executives and all of those things. So I that's basically the part that I play. It's pretty big and it's kind of all over the place. Yeah. So, I mean, anytime there's massive layoffs, it scares, there's fear, right? But I feel like it's increased when it's in your industry and when it's targeting a company that's very similar to yours, right? Or companies that are similar to yours. We are a startup. So already when you go into a startup, it's a little more risky, right? And it's already, you're a little afraid, right? But in this situation, it was all of the above. It was our industry, it was startups, it was, everything that we are. So it was, I would say I've definitely seen a little bit more emotion. I've definitely seen a little bit more fear. But I've also seen a lot of resilience and just my team kind of embracing the fear and being willing to kind of continue to take this risk on together, which has been really encouraging. I mean, I would say the biggest things that I think make the biggest difference here are being able to really combat the uncertainty and fear with communication and transparency. Because if people don't feel like they truly know what's going on, that's just going to, increase assumptions, and that's going to make the fear even worse. And then people make decisions out of emotion. So I push very hard to increase that communication level, make sure that everyone is on the same page, we're talking. And then the other part is collaboration. And when things like this are going on, I think it's important to push people to talk to each other, to brainstorm, to collaborate, to work together, because then you have more of that camaraderie and you don't feel alone. When you're afraid and you're alone, it's even worse. So I would say that's a big part of it, on top of being able to increase people's ownership. That's a big part, especially in the startup world. If people really feel like they have ownership over something and they're making a massive impact, that does decrease the fear. So those are kind of the things that I do try to push hard. And in doing that, you're changing processes, you're making changes so that people can feel that you're actually doing something to make things better and to make them feel more secure. We've done a few things. So, we've started to have more department head meetings where, everyone's getting together and then we're talking to the CEO. We're doing a lot more brainstorming sessions and deep dives and things like that. We are kind of encouraging more of the one-on-ones and different things like that. We're also now having, which is something we weren't having before, is we're having more of a kind of high level conversation so that we're increasing the communication around the big things that we don't normally talk about. So, where's funding? What's our burn rate? All of those things that people don't ever really talk about and maybe are a little scared to ask. Now that's just out on the table. So you don't have to be scared to talk about it because we're having that conversation every single month. And you don't have to do anything to get there. It's just there. And our executives are open to having those conversations now. I mean, it's always a challenge. Dealing with people and emotions is very difficult. One of the biggest things that I would say is just talk to your teams, actually listen to them. Don't just let them speak. Hear them and listen to them, and don't make assumptions about how people feel, and don't make assumptions about how they're coping with fear or uncertainty or anything else. Just ask them and encourage them to talk to you too, and just be an open human being. I would say that goes a really long way. On top of being transparent with people is unbelievably valuable. Yeah. So instead of just hearing them, be willing to be open with them and tell them how you're feeling as well. There's lines you don't want to cross. You don't want to increase their fear, but being able to be honest about how you feel as well, and maybe other concerns or worries and how you're dealing with things, and just being a human being can really, really help, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that makes a really big difference. And then, I mean, being able to, like I said, really increasing that ownership, and trying to encourage people to take more autonomy and ownership, and being willing to own something and really feel the impact that they're making. I feel like, and I've seen many times in the past, I've seen when people really start to feel that ownership, that fear starts to subside and it turns into passion instead of fear. So
Yeah.
I would say that that would make a very big difference. So it's always a good thing to try, at least, and see how it goes. Oh my goodness. There's so many things. I would probably say autonomy. Reason why I say that, I feel like so much can branch off of that. When you give people the freedom and the ability to really just do their own thing and be creative, and really take ownership over their craft, that, from that they feel trusted and empowered, and they're able to kind of have that fulfillment that you don't get when you feel like someone's looking over your shoulder. So there's a lot more joy and fulfillment in your work when you feel trusted to do it, and you feel empowered, and like your team actually believes in you and you're making an impact. So I would probably say autonomy is number one for me.